There is zero chance the government will convict Sean P. Diddy Combs on these charges against Sean P. Diddy Combs. The government has ostensibly charged Sean P. Diddy Combs, who, by the way, is a scumbag. The government has charged him with basically running an OnlyFans channel. The point of this and the point of this podcast is to use the P. Diddy situation as another warning. Another warning. I started this podcast because I wanted to protect the multicultural community. Whether you are multicultural because you're some old grumpy white guy whose daughter or son married a Latina and you are, you got three Latino slash Caucasian slash 100% multicultural grandkids, whether you're an old grumpy black guy whose, daughter married an Asian guy and you now have 5 hoppas running around your yard when they come and visit, or whether you're like me and you are multicultural by birth. That multicultural community is a separate and distinct entity. It is a separate and distinct ethnicity. And I started this podcast to protect us, the multicultural community. And I say it over and over again. If you are a community and you can't protect yourself, you're just going to be a victim. Multicultural is a separate, distinct ethnicity. That's important. It's also important in the context, again, of this whole P. Diddy craziness. Every ethnic group in the world, but certainly in America, has been targeted. They've been attacked. And the entity that has attacked them the most has been the government. The government. Don't believe me? Ask the Native Americans about that. Ask the African Americans about whether that's true. Ask the Irish about whether that is true. Ask the Italians about whether it's true. Ask the Japanese. Ask the Latinos. Ask various religious organizations. The single biggest threat to an ethnic group is the government. It's the government. The government is the entity with the power. I'm not against the government. The government is necessary and important, but the government has to be watched. It has to be limited. And so P. Diddy, like scumbag Tyreek Hill, is relevant to my goal in this podcast, which is to protect us as multicultural people, which is to grow our community, which is to make sure that we're not victimized like every other ethnic group has been in this country. Tyreek Hill and Sean P. Diddy Combs are relevant because when the government infringes upon constitutional rights of one group or one entity, they infringe upon other people's constitutional rights. I know some things about life. I mean, I've tried cases. I've been a businessman. I've had success. I've had failures. I've done some stuff. One thing that I'm pretty good at is looking at a group of facts, looking at the law, looking at society, and kind of understanding where things are going. And this P. Diddy Combs thing is horrifying. Horrifying at a lesser degree, and that was the point of my last podcast with respect to the African American community being broken, where I keep saying is if you can't defend yourself, you have no power. But then I looked at this P. Diddy matter. The federal government has charged P. Diddy Combs, who again is a scumbag, with making pornographic material. Pornographic material involving consenting adults who are being paid. The federal government has charged P. Diddy with a RICO violation, the highest level criminal violation, because they said, listen, and these are the allegations. Go look at it yourself. By the way, they don't say the RAP word. They don't say sexual coercion. They say that the way he got these pornographic videos made was he paid people to have sex while he videotaped it. That's called making a porno movie. That is stunning, and that is something that if it is now a crime, you would have to change the United States Constitution. The First Amendment, people think, applies to speech. Well, a form of speech is making pornography. Making pornography has been legal in the United States, I think it's like 1976, federal law says, constitutional law. That's what they've charged him with. They keep throwing out this picture of him throwing whatever the chick is on the ground. Horrible. Charge him with that. But what they've done, what the federal government has done, is they've put into place the next step that they can use to come after specific ethnic groups or specific people they do not like. Here's how the law works. If the federal government says something is a crime, then it's a crime not just at the federal level, it's a crime at the state level. So if P Diddy can be convicted for racketeering and for trafficking because he literally, these are their allegations, because their allegations allege he paid porno actors to make pornos while he videotaped it. If that is now a criminal offense, that offense can be charged across the board in every single state. Every state. Let me put it this way. There are, I wrote this number down, let me find it, 190 million registered OnlyFans users. When I read this allegation yesterday, I said, I think you can go on OnlyFans and pay someone to do a sex act, any kind of sex act, and you can do that. Now, I'm too cheap to pay for OnlyFans, but that's just because I'm cheap. But you can do that. You can go on OnlyFans and pay someone to do exactly what the federal government has charged P Diddy Combs with racketeering for. There are 2 million registered OnlyFans creators. 2.1 million OnlyFans creators registered who go out and pay people or pay themselves or compensate themselves to prepare and make pornographic videos. Think about that. 2.1 million people. If the government gets away with this, the government can then choose, oh, by the way, didn't you make a porno video on OnlyFans? That's trafficking. Here's the more frightening thing. 73% of Americans have used their cell phone to create sexual content. That's right. When you were on that vacation and you hadn't seen your wife for a while and you said, hey, send me that video. And she goes, okay, I will. You are now a trafficker. You are now liable for being prosecuted by the federal government for RICO, for trafficking. Do you see? Does that seem strange to you? Do you see where we're going with this? Do you see my concern? This is an infringement, again, on P. Diddy's constitutional rights, who I don't give a shit about. He is another one of these multimillionaire weirdos. But I give a shit about my constitutional rights and your constitutional rights. The federal government cannot be allowed to prosecute someone for a RICO violation for paying for porno actors to do porno on videotape. These are all adults. If it had any, that doesn't even suggest that there were children. And yet the federal government is saying that we're going to prosecute him. It won't stop there. The way the law works, it's called stare decisis. If there's a precedent that says it's okay, that precedent can be applied. 24% of teens, now this scares me since I have a teenager, 24% of teens are reportedly to have engaged in sexting of some sort. There have been teenagers required to register as sex offenders for sexting. That is what the government can do if we allow things like this to happen. I'm warning you guys, as multicultural club members, this matters to us, not because we're going to be trafficking, although some of you I'm sure already have by this definition. It's important to us because we have to protect ourselves. We have to protect this community. And I blew it again, by the way. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. We can't allow craziness like this to happen, or at least we got to stand up and do what we can to stop it. P. Diddy is a scumbag, but you're not a scumbag, and your kids aren't scumbags, and my kids aren't scumbags. Our constitutional rights matter, and we can't let the federal government step in and infringe upon those rights. This is a big deal. Like and subscribe, and thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.